1-800-378-7319. That's 1-800-378-7319 or visit insurancewireless.com.
You're going to pay them, you can't pay them the whole amount. You know, you put a deposit down.
Benita's On's Health Report is on the web. Go to WNYT.com for the latest on medical developments. Brought to you by St. Peter's Healthcare Services. The science of medicine, the compassion to heal.
Hey, this year you need to look up the second dog if there's anything available.
Unbearable. Heavy bleeding and the worst cancer you've ever had. But it's often misdiagnosed as fibroids. There's another condition with the same symptoms that no one's talking about. It's called adenomyosis. I'm going to help you understand what that is, but I need some help from you. I need my assistant of the day. And that person is Charlene at 151.
What is she doing? I don't know, just throwing on the TV.
Oh my goodness, there you go, Charlie. I think we got next time on something really bad like that.
Dr. Oz.
Yes! All right, come on over here. Let me tell you what this is, because I just want folks to be clear on what the problem is so you don't panic over it, and then we got some solutions, because a lot of folks have never heard of this and they won't know what it is. So this is what your uterus looks like initially. Feel that and give me an idea. Sort of firmish, right? Ball, simple model. Yeah. Now feel this replica of a uterus. See how that's softer? It's a lot bigger too. Right? This is what happens with adenomyosis. Triple the size, the wall thickens, you touch it, it's got a very different sense to it, much spongier, much softer. Right? Now, adenomyosis is not very well understood. Even doctors don't think about it that much, and we miss the diagnosis quite frequently, which is why you miss the diagnosis. We haven't been aware of it. So I've got a colleague who specializes in this condition. I'm going to ask her her invite. She is from the Fertility Treatment Center in Arizona, Dr. Millie Behera. Please join me.
And a severe thunderstorm warning effective till 3 o'clock.
So I want to show you with this larger uterus. So this is the adenomyotic uterus. And what's happening is normally the glandular tissue or the endometrium that lines the inside of the uterine cavity is what builds and sheds each month with our cycles. What happens is their barrier is broken, and I'll show you with these little black beans. These glands invade the muscle wall and push the other normal muscle tissue out of the way and cause inflammation, pain, and form little areas where it bleeds and forms cysts and causes the uterus to be big, bulky, and very painful. The process itself is benign, but the symptoms are not. It's very painful and causes heavy bleeding as well.
And it results from trauma, as I've read, which typically affects women over the age of 30 who've had children. And I've got an animation to show you why this is so true. So turn this way if you don't mind. This is an important example of what happens during childbirth that might actually manifest itself years later. So the baby's coming through. You see down here how the uterus is being squeezed against the backbone? Now, that pelvic bone, then the head of the child are squeezing against that tissue, and little tears happen there. Now, little crack in the tissue right down there. If you look closely, the endometrial cells, that lining gets pushed down into the rip that occurs. Now, you can't see this from the outside. It's a microscopic little tear, but over time, the body encircles that. Now you have tissue that normally would grow and be shed going inside the wall. So you have all kinds of little cells like that in different parts of the uterus, depending on different kinds of tears that have occurred. And that's what we think is happening with adenomyosis. Now, I've got a little demonstration that I think might bring us to life. So, do you like ping pong?
Sure.
There you go. Are you good at it?
It's been a while.
Been a while? All right. This cell, it's a ping pong ball, we're going to call it a cell, represents the endometrial lining, the lining on the inside of the uterus, okay? And you bounce it around, it's growing. That's how good you are. Oh, that's not very good. Take mine. All right, now look, that's okay. I almost lost you off the set. All right, that's okay because, once a month, you lose the ball. Right? Once a month, you shed it all. It goes out of you. Not a big problem. Ball bounces higher, ball falls, it's gone. Okay. Now, what happens in adenomyosis, come on over here. Grab those two edges over there. See those two handles? Lift this up. Okay? Now, what happens to adenomyosis, we're going to shake this as hard as we can. Okay. Are you ready? 1, 2, shake. That's what happens. The cells can't get out. So they accumulate more and more that build up in there. And after a while, they just get bigger and stronger, and they're painful because they're bulging to get out. And they can't get out. They're trapped in there. They don't have the ability to be lost and go off on wherever they're going to be and free you up from having to carry the inside of them. Now, I was always taught, I went through my training, that the only cure was the hysterectomy. But Dr. Harry, you say there's actually a cutting-edge treatment now that folks ought to know about that might avoid having to lose your uterus.
It's true. The only cure, though, still is hysterectomy. However, we often try and treat the symptoms with less invasive methods. So you want to avoid surgery or something invasive. And so if we want to get all those active balls that are moving around and causing pain to settle down, one, we want to try and remove the stimulus, which is often hormones or estrogen. So in menopause, those symptoms will be alleviated, and sometimes medication can help do that. But there is a new cutting-edge treatment as well that is currently being used for the treatment of uterine fibroids, where we use focused ultrasound beams to target these endometrial glands and treat them with that heat, and they shrivel up, and the pain and the symptoms resolve. So the current studies and early experience with this MRI-guided focused ultrasound is very promising, and we will have to stay tuned with how those treatments turn out.
Dr. Miller, thank you very much for sharing your expertise. Charlie, you're wonderful.
And very good afternoon to you again, and pardon the interruption. We'll get you back to Dr. Oz here in just a second, but a brand new severe thunderstorm warning just issued by the National Weather Service for the storm that is now making its way out of the immediate capital district. So this warning is now in effect for about the next hour for southern Rensselaer County, all of Columbia, and Berkshire counties as well, with the storm making its way on off to the south and east. It's going to get about 35 miles per hour. Let's put a couple of tracks on this and see where it's headed here. Both corners will be under the gun here.